On this episode, we're going to go over running point and voicemail. Okay, hey everybody, this is the quarter show. Yesterday we did our first episode 1 of the quarter show, and we are now doing episode 2. We're going to come to you with a series of different things on info from being in the trenches to stuff that we know, to interviews, to book reviews, to things like this that are going to help you related to sales and entrepreneurial information and things that we know based off what works. On this episode, we're going to be talking about running point and voicemail. In terms of running point, when we look at, when you're doing sales and you look at being able to get a sale closed, and today I've got, by the way, Ben Folk with me. Ben is our VP sales over here, one of our number one salespeople, and he knows what he's been doing it for a while. Very, very well rounded in this area. So I'm going to ask him a couple questions. But bottom line is, when you're working to close a deal and you're looking at coming into the closing stages, you can't leave anything undone. You need to run point, which means you need to be so in control of everything that's happening that you know where everything stands, and you're dealing with every person that makes a buying decision. You're dealing with every person that has a hand or needs to be bought in. I talk a lot here about being a great tour guide, somebody who runs fantastic control on everybody in the group to get them to arrive at a specific destination. And if you have a contact and that contact is not ultimately the power or the authority or the person who's going to get it done, you put yourself in a position of effect on the cycle, right? And you need to be able to get to every single person to run point, whether that's the CPA or that's the CFO or if that's the attorney because they need to look at the document, or if that's the chief marketing officer or whoever that person is or whoever those people are. You just can't leave it up to them and say, hey, you know what, this person's going to so-and-so to get approval. And when you hear that and you hear that they're going to someone else to get approval, to that degree you're at effect, right?
And the key to something like this is the viewpoint. It begins with the viewpoint, and the viewpoint for, in my opinion, and my experience as a successful salesperson, is that you are part of their company. You're part of their team. So it's not that you're like hearing something from an enemy or someone who's against what you're trying to accomplish. Your viewpoint and your mindset and your obsessive focus is, I'm part of this team. And so this person said to me that they're going to, run it up the flagpole to this other person. Great. Well, I'm part of that team. I'm going to run it up the flagpole myself. So I take the ball from one person and I run to the other person, and I make an introduction and I show the proposal. And if this is I ultimately, of course, always want to take it to the person who can make a decision, the final decision. And everybody understands that.
So let's say some prospects. Let's say you deal with a prospect, you're dealing with somebody, and they say, you know what, I need to take it to John, and ultimately John's going to approve it. I'll take it to him. I'll get back to you. Just be patient with me, and we'll get back to you with an answer. Legal's got to sign off on it, and I got to get John's approval. And until I have that, we can't do anything. What would you do in that scenario?
Totally understand. That makes a lot of sense. And if you need anything along the way, let me know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, I'm a person, I'm a human being on this blue little planet floating around the sun. I'm going to go and introduce myself to another person. I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to talk to Leo or the other people. And I'm just going to say, hey, this is Ben working with Fred. He's been fantastic. There's a proposal. It'll be on your desk probably today. Let me take a look at it. If you need anything, here's my contact info. And, love to do a project and help, right? And then I go to the other person. So it's just a matter of, I'm part of the team, and I'm making sure they know who I am. And that is one little note, by the way, is, and you've mentioned this a few times. Yeah. If someone who's making a decision about something, and someone comes to them on their team and says, oh, can I have this great tool, and it costs $10,000, and a person who's making a decision might just go, no. Let me see this. No, I don't know anything about that. They don't know anything about that. They don't know who you are. So it's always best to put yourself there, to be alive, to be a person, to be a personality, to like you show up and be someone to them so that they can go, oh yeah, he was super confident about that, and that did make sense what he said to me when he talked to me or left me a voicemail about this product, and so I they'll think about it more.
Yeah. I mean, don't be vague. Don't be vague. Don't leave anything vague. Don't leave anything up in the air. Don't leave anything uncontrolled. And you have to establish a relationship and a line-in with each person that has something to do with the deal. And if you're not, you're leaving too much on the table, and you're leaving the control on the prospect side, and you're not truly running point across the board to handle every single person, including your contact and everybody involved, in order to sort of run it tightly through so you can have it arrive where you need it to go. If you're not doing that, you're not running at full control of the cycle, and it's going to take longer, and the probability of closing will reduce. So let's go over the next topic here. Let's go over to voicemail, and we talk a lot about voicemail and how people get voicemails. I get a lot. I get a lot of voicemails, and I have a lot of people calling me, trying to sell me something. And look, I mean, I appreciate anybody who's in sales, because I've trained a lot of salespeople. I've sold a lot myself.
I'll break it to him, Rob. I'll break it to him. So Rob, Robert pulls me over to his desk the other day during the holiday. We're just sitting there, and he goes, okay, listen to this. I've got 50 voicemails on my phone, and he starts playing them. Dude, hi Robert, this is Fred at so-and-so company. My number is, and he's like, delete, flunk, delete, next one. Hey Robert, this is so-and-so, and my number, I really wanted to reach you. Flunk, delete.
Yeah. So that's what happens. So if you're selling me out there,
or selling anyone, don't ever do that.
Here's the deal. You're a human being.
Yeah.
Be a human being, be authentic, communicate as if you're listening on the other phone, as if you're receiving the phone call, right? And don't call and say, hey, it's Jim, I'm calling about blah, call me back and here's my telephone number. It's garbage, it's crap, don't do it. Start getting really engaged, figure out what you want to say, and use voicemail as if they picked up the phone, as if it's a real conversation. Call them and literally get into what you're talking about and make it highly conversational, make it very authentic, and sell them. And if you do it right, you have a captive audience that's listening to the voicemail. They can't interject, they can't say anything, and if you've done it right, it actually doubles as a sales tool for you. Don't think that everybody just deletes all their voicemail, because they don't.
Take it as an opportunity to sell. Yeah. It's an opportunity to sell, for sure. Now, some voicemails, I can act a little funny or a little crazy, but that's not the point. The point is, and I'm not trying to just be weird or off the wall in order to cut through the noise. I am trying to be genuine, authentic. Thoughts that I've had, I'm going to express them. I really don't have any back off on it. And to the degree that you have back off is to the degree that you're going to start, hi, this is Fred, and my number is...
Yeah.
That's a totally backed off person. That's someone who's just like, oh my gosh.
Afraid. They're afraid. They're speaking so quietly, they're afraid. You can't even hear what they're saying. It's garbage. You may as well not do anything at all.
Don't do it.
But if you're going to do voicemail, communicate like, hey Chuck, listen, I'm looking over the proposal. I have a couple different ideas. Here's my idea, and here's what I'd like to say. And you kind of go over this thing. You should time out on the voicemail. You should time out. The voicemail should, you ran out of time. That's a good voicemail. If you've communicated emphatically exactly what you want to say, you run out of time. And I think that a lot of people think that people don't listen to their voicemail or whatever, and there's this really conservative thing that happens on voicemail because people don't know what to say, and it comes across wrong, and it hurts your sale more than it helps it. Or they try and be sneaky, right? You try and be sneaky, like, I have something very important to talk about, call me back, right? It's like, why would I call back?
Ask yourself how many times you've called somebody back when they left this mysterious voicemail.
If it's important, you're going to leave the information for the prospect, get them engaged, be transparent, and be authentic with your prospect. Yeah. Be very authentic with them, and there's no reason not to. If you're selling a product that you love, why wouldn't you be authentic with them and be enthusiastic and be pure about the voicemail?
And that's the other thing is you got to make sure to be authentic. You can be overly excited and to end up like the bad type of salesman that we think of when we think bad salesman. You can end up being that way. You have to feel it in your heart. Whatever you're saying, you have to feel it. I closed a deal recently, small deal, but great company. Really liked the guy, really liked the product, we talked about his company, and I really liked how he went about it. It reminded me of Richter. And so I left it. He was like, no thanks, Ben. We're going to have to talk about it down the road. And he was going to push it off. And I understand that. But I left him a voicemail. And I timed out on the voicemail, but I was like, you remind me of my CEO, of Richter, and how we work. And you're not in this because you're afraid to spend money. You're not in this because you're in this because you love your product and you're trying to get a mission done. And and I just was genuine. It's how I felt. And so always be authentic and leave only how you feel. If you don't feel it, don't pick up that phone.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it until your head's in the game, until you're actually there and you're in the right frame of mind and you're ready. And then pick up the phone and deliver the right kind of voicemail and deliver it as if you have a sales opportunity. Deliver it as if you're there in person. Deliver it as if you would listen to it yourself. And you hear that voicemail and you're on the receiving end. And if it's crap, then get better. Work to get better. Work to get better and listen and be like, oh my God, the voicemail was crap. And then work to make it better and conversational and real, because with all these different devices like cameras and like phones and all these different things, it creates this conservative culture in us where you think you go into the business culture of like, hi John, it's so-and-so, and you're trying to be ultra professional, but you know what, that doesn't sell. That doesn't sell. Real people to people, real human beings, that's what sells. So be that way, and hopefully that helps with your voicemail.
And watch on your new salespeople when they come on board. They're almost one for one. They're going to be terrified of CEOs and C-level people. They're going to think that the thing to do is to be super business etiquette and hello, Mr. Jones. They're gonna think that, and so you have to crack them immediately and be like, no, be yourself, express yourself. Yeah. That'll get you so much further. So that's just a little tip on new sales folks.
So hopefully it helps. Run point on all your cycles. Leave incredible voicemails and do voicemail every single time. Never neglect voicemail. Do it every single time. Hopefully that helps. We'll have more episodes coming at you shortly here. Watch out. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and you get automatically notified of the
hashtag the quarter.
Hashtag the quarter. All right. Thanks.